Hey guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis, me once again. Welcome back to another movie review, aka After I Saw. This time is going to be on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Now, this is the third and supposedly final installment for the Guardians story, other than, of course, they are also part of the Avengers. Well, bottom line is, this is the third installment for the Guardians in their side of the story of the MCU, directed by James Gunn, who actually got fired before this movie was actually supposed to be in production. And a few months later, he got rehired. So I kind of forgot what that was all about. But bottom line is, he's the director of this movie, so it really doesn't matter anymore. Also, he's the new leader of the DCEU, which everybody's mad about. I honestly don't care who runs the DCEU. I mean, I thought the Suicide Squad was awesome, so yeah. But I'm here to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And this film follows Peter Quill and the Guardians once again, and they have to once again try to save the galaxy, including one of their own teammates. And from there, we see Gamora throughout a lot of the movie, who isn't the same person she once was when she met the Guardians for the first time. And she has no memory of her past with Quill and their relationship, and it tends to get a bit awkward for them, but there's more to the story, but I don't really want to spoil it for you because, like I said before, they have to save one of their own, and I don't really want to say who it is, but it's honestly kind of obvious. But now, I absolutely love the first movie. It's one of my favorite MCU films. Second movie I didn't like quite as much, but I still thought it was a really solid sequel. Baby Groot stole the entire show, and Groot is grown up now. He went from baby Groot to teenage Groot to more powerful Groot, probably even more powerful than he was in the first movie. Now, there's a lot to really enjoy about this film. During the current phase of MCU films that really aren't as great as when the MCU first started, I feel like the last truly great one was Spider-Man of No Way Home. And there have been some other ones that I did enjoy, like I liked Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, I liked Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Then again, their last movie, Ant-Man the Wasp, Quantumania, is probably my new least favorite MCU film. But this film, I thought, definitely not one of the better MCU films. I still feel like there was a lot to really enjoy about this film. Now, where the movie shines the most to me is its emotion, as there is a lot of it throughout the film. Like, there are moments that make you cry, even if you're an animal lover, because this is a movie that focuses a lot on Rocket's backstory. Like, to think that Marvel made a CGI raccoon so likable that we would actually connect to him throughout the Guardians' journey. And this one, we connect to him even more as we see his backstory. I mean, we see him as a young baby raccoon who's just freaking adorable. I mean, it was great to see him on screen as a young raccoon, and we actually see, like, of course, his backstory and stuff, and it's honestly quite tragic, and it really had me caring. It cut away from that a lot, though. Like, we don't really see Rocket in the present that much. Like, when it focuses on Rocket, it's usually his backstory, but hey, needless to say, I feel like the way they handled him was great. And the other characters, too, like how they handled Gamora, despite the fact that she has absolutely no memory of her past with the Guardians. It was still nice to see her still being part of the Guardians. And, of course, the other characters, like Drax, is a bit more serious than he was in the previous two films. Like, this is a far more serious film, but nonetheless, James Gunn still manages to put bits of humor here and there, though I will say there were a couple of jokes with lines of dialogue that I found to be kind of awkward, but that's not to say that the movie was unfunny. It was. There was a lot of humor, and it focuses a lot more on the emotion, and it focuses a lot more on that than the humor, which is something that Thor Love and Thunder did try to do, but honestly, that movie just tried, like, it didn't know whether it wanted to be more funny or serious, but I feel like this one is far more serious, as it will definitely make you tear up if you've grown to love these characters like me and other big Marvel fans, because people didn't really have that much anticipation for the first movie, because, nobody knew who the Guardians, well, some people did, but they didn't know how they were going to feel about, different Marvel characters that aren't Iron Man or Thor or Captain America or anything like that. But that movie was a huge hit, and now that has a franchise of its own, and the Guardians have gotten a lot more popular. And with this film, I feel like it's definitely a really solid send off. And while I definitely feel like 2.5 hours is a bit too much, like they could have shaved off like maybe 20 minutes. Also, they do tend to add characters in here that I feel like don't really have that much of a purpose, like this one guy who's like supposedly a villain, but who wants to cause a lot of chaos, but then just he appears and he doesn't. And I don't really feel like having him was all that necessary. I mean, we already have a main villain who already isn't that, like, I mean, his side of the story is like really dark. I mean, he mistreats animals. So, yeah, because of that, you're supposed to hate the guy. But really, well, let's just be real here. I mean, there is probably never going to be another villain like Thanos ever again for the MCU. But hey, you don't care about the villains, you care about the heroes, and you do care about the heroes a lot. They still have great characters behind them, and needless to say, it's great to see them actually truly do act like family throughout the adventure, throughout this entire thing. And in the end, guys, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is a really solid send-off for these heroes. It still manages to have good enough humor and fun action sequences, which a lot of them are done really well here. Like, I feel like the pacing was very strong when the movie opens up. And it definitely got better pace, like, when it got to the later act. Though, like I mentioned before, they could have shaved off, like, maybe 20 minutes. But nonetheless, I still had myself a really fun time with this one. It definitely made me tear up. It definitely got me hooked on the action, along with its fantastic soundtrack. Once again, that's another thing I should say, is that the Guardians franchise has one of the best soundtracks in the MCU, like excellent song choices. I could definitely see people like jamming onto the music while the action's going on, and it has a lot to offer. And while it's definitely not like the best of the Guardians series, it's definitely a really solid send-off. So yeah, needless to say, if this is truly how their journey ends, then it's one that ends off very strong here. I also recommend checking out the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. Like, there are a couple moments like involving Mantis and Quill. If you watch the Holiday Special, you'll understand, because you're probably not going to understand if you haven't watched the Holiday Special. But it's really good. I recommend watching it. Also, I should point this out before I forget. This is the first MCU film to have the F word. Took them long enough. That's probably the closest thing we're ever going to have to a Disney film actually using the F word. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Word out.